Welcome to the Dishcloth Stitch of the Week. This week we're going to be working on the spike cluster, and I'm going to be using 5 different colors for my dishcloth because this stitch shows up the very best when you can use high contrast colors. It's not going to be as pretty with a variegated yarn or an ombre, only because the stitch itself is going to get lost in your colors. Today I am using Paintbox Yarns Cotton Aran, and I am using, let's see what colors we have, sky blue, lime green, regular white, slate gray, and Seville orange. So like I said, I'm using high contrast colors today so that you can see the stitch the very best. Now I started out my pattern using a number 7 4.5 millimeter hook. Hope that you can see. There we go. And I chained 36 chains. I single crocheted in the first chain from the hook, or the second chain from the hook. So essentially you need 35 stitches to work what we are going to accomplish today, and you need 1 chain for turning at the very beginning. Okay, so you need 35 stitches for the stitch, and you need 1 chain for turning. So you can make this as big as you want, but you're gonna have to have, and it needs to be like, it needs to end on a 5. So don't go 30 plus 1, go 35 plus 1, or 25 plus 1, or 45 plus 1. Don't stop on a 0, stop on a 5. Okay? So you can make this as big as you want, as small as you want. It's easy to transfer it over. Like if you want to do a pillow cover, you could do that. But today we're working on a dishcloth just to show you the stitch. So I'm going to get these things out of the way, and we're going to work on our slate gray. And I also, sorry, I did a 4-row establishment so that we could get right into this stitch right away. But if you're going to do this, and you also have the written pattern, but just so that you can see, or so we can talk about this real quick, excuse me, you're going to do a chain 1, turn, and single crochet in each single crochet for a total of 4 rows. So here's row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. All right, you want to have a 4-row base before you change your colors. Okay, so this is how I change my colors on the ends instead of necessarily cutting everything off right away. Now, I'm going to recommend that you go ahead and cut each time that you change colors, only because there's going to be another 4 rows in between a color change, and if you try to carry the yarn up the side, it's going to make a really big loop, and I don't find that pleasing to the eye. So it's completely up to you, but this is what I would do. I would cut it so that I've got a long enough piece, and then chain 1, turn your work, and then as I'm going along, I'm going to catch these pieces into my stitch. So we're going to single crochet into 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now we are going to do the spike cluster, all right? So this is the way you work the spike cluster. This is going to be like ground 0 for you. This is going to be your starting point each time that you do this. So each time that you make the spike cluster. So you're going to start here and count down 2. So you're just going down 2 rows, not way down here, just row 1, row 2. So 1, 2, and then you're going to count over to the right 2, 1, 2, and then on the outside or the right side of that stitch, right here, you're going to enter your hook. And you're going to pull up a loop. You want to make it not super tight, not super loose. As a matter of fact, I'm feeling like that one's getting a little loose, so I'm going to do it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, to the right of that. Pull it up. So for the second spike, you're going to start at ground zero, go 1, 2, and the hole right below, and then back to our starting stitch, 1, 2. Now go to the left 2, 1, 2. But you're going to go into the space to the right of that stitch and not to the outside. And then you'll pull through all 3, and you want to make sure that you don't have it real tight. So we're skipping this stitch because this right here is taking the place of that. But we do want to single crochet into the next 5. So you see how the next stitch is kind of hidden by that loop? You want to make sure that you get into that stitch and not skip it. Otherwise you will end up with counting problems. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, let's do that again. This is your starting stitch, 1, 2, count to the right 2, 1, 2, go to the outside of that and pull up a loop. Starting stitch, 1, 2, go below that. Starting stitch, 1, 2, go to the left, 1, 2, but to the right of that stitch, and pull through. Once again, skipping that, but making sure that you don't skip the hidden stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this is a little loopy for me, and I would probably go back and take that out and do this over again where it's tighter, but we're, for the sake of this, just going to keep moving on. But this really isn't going to be a problem if you do leave it that large. You're going to single crochet into that stitch just like you would single crochet into any other stitch. When you do work into that, it's going to leave a small hole here anyway, which I'll show you when we work on the next row. But just don't, you know, like, give yourself lots of grace. If this is a loopy stitch, that's okay. All right, so we are now working here again. This is our starting stitch. So 1, 2, work to the right, 1, 2, to the outside of that stitch. Okay, 1, 2, go below. 1, 2, go to the left, 1, 2, and then to the right of that stitch, and pull through. Skipping that one, working into that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, working to the right, 1, 2, 1, 2, go below, 1, 2, working to the left, 1, 2, but go to the right of that stitch. Skip that one, get the hidden one. So I guess I tend to leave that loop kind of big anyway, I get. So we're just not going to freak out about it. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Starting stitch, 1, 2, to the right, 1, 2, go to the outside. 1, 2, go below. 1, 2, go to the left, 1, 2, and stay to the right. It's kind of like driving. All right, and we're going to end up with the last 5. Okay, now chain 1. And then I'm going to just show you real quick. Look at how pretty that stitch is. Okay, let's go ahead and single crochet in each of the single crochets across. So chain 1 and turning and working in every stitch. Don't skip any. Let's single crochet. And you're going to have 35 stitches for every row. So watch your counts. If you're losing any stitches, go back and make sure that you're not skipping any of those hidden ones, because we don't want to end up with a triangle or a circle. I want to make sure this is nice and square. Okay, real quick. Okay, now we're going to take a quick look at the front of this again. Chain 1 and turn, because we're going to do some more of that. All right. Oh, wow, that really sets that off, doesn't it? I love this stitch. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, I think that the white should show through. Yeah, it does. It shows that hole. There's that little bitty hole there. That's okay. This isn't going to hurt your design at all. It's part of the stitch itself. I have done this stitch just, you know, like 100 times by now, and it's always there. So I hope that doesn't bother you. I find it an endearing part of the stitch. And one of the reasons I call this the chicken scratch dishcloth is because this just makes me think of little chicken feet. All right, so what I'd like for you to do is work 2 more single crochet rows, and I will come back and I'll meet you when we're changing colors again. So just do 1, 2 more rows of regular single crochet, and then we'll do the color change. Okay, I have my extra 2 rows of single crochet done, and you should have the wrong side of this facing you. It's even kind of cute on the back side, isn't it? So we're going to change colors, and I'm going to change over to white. Pull up, and then I cut. Move the other color aside. Chain 1, and make sure that you secure on the back side, and single crochet into 2, just 2 this time, because we are going to now offset our little chicken feet so that they fall in between each of the others. So single crochet into 2, and then we're going to do the same process that we did for this one. So using this one as this is our starting point. So 1, 2, then go to the right, 1, 2. We have just enough space right here to actually fit that in there. Starting point, 1, 2, go below. Starting point, 1, 2, go to the left, but stay to the right of that stitch. So essentially, this is going to be the exact same thing. You're just offsetting your stitches. So skipping that one, making sure you get the hidden one, and single crochet into 5. 3, 4, and 5. Let's do that stitch again. Starting point, 1, 2, 1, 2, to the right, 1, 2, below, 1, 2, to the left, and stay to the right. And get my hidden stitch, and another 4 to make a total of 5. Okay, let's just look at how that's going to fall now. See how that's going to be offsetting? All right, starting point, 1, 2 to the right, 1, 2, 1, 2, go below, 1, 2, go to the left, but stay to the right of the stitch. And you're actually going to get extra chicken feet out of this row. So you're not just going to have 5, you should have 6. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2 to the right, 1, 2, 1, 2, go below, 1, 2 to the left. Don't skip your hidden stitch. Two, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2 to the right, 1, 2 underneath, 1, 2 to the left. And that one is, I'm sorry, that's way too loopy, I can't leave that. All right, 1, 2 to the right. See, I talk myself through this every single time I do this. So don't feel weird if you chant to yourself while you're making this, because I do too. But I love this stitch not only for its uniqueness and its creativity, but also because it gives me just a little bit of a challenge. I like to challenge myself when I crochet. I like to learn new things all the time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2. Once again, we have just enough space for that stitch. Get the hidden one, and that's part of the ending 2 of this row. So chain 1, turn, single crochet into every single crochet and spike cluster. Once again, always maintaining 35 stitches going across. Alrighty, now let's take a look at this. And I just realized that that's white on white, isn't it? So we're going to use this green to kind of show the difference. Okay, so we've got 6 chicken feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You still have 35 stitches going across. You're going to do the same thing where you chain 1 and turn and do another 2 rows. All right, we are on color change number 4. So I've gone ahead and added my color on. We're going to go back to the pattern that we started with on row 5, and we're going to single crochet into 5. So this pattern is going to actually be a repeat of rows 5 through 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Rows 5 through 12 is what you're going to keep working until you reach a length that you're happy with. Okay, so working stitch, 1, 2, over to the right, 1, 2, 1, 2, over to the left, but to the right of that stitch, and hidden stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I feel like you've probably got a pretty good grasp on this pattern at this point. So I'm going to keep working through my color changes. I'm going to add a blue to this, and I'm probably going to go back and add in a couple more repeats of those, just so that I can get a length that is a nice usable dishcloth. And the reason why I make them as wide as I do is I will lay my hand out like this, because a lot of times I'll grab my dishcloths like this. All right, so I have gone ahead and finished my dishcloth. I went ahead and reverse repeated my colors because I wanted to just keep it in the same family, and I kind of like doing this when I've just got a few colors to work with. I think it adds a nice stripe element. But when you get to the end, you're going to want to end with the last 3 rows being single crochet. I have decided to not put a border on this dishcloth because I really like the dynamic way that the stripes stick out. I think it helps to accentuate them by not covering them up with something. Let's flip this over and take a look at the back. I think the back is just as cute as the front, but obviously a different look. So there's definitely nothing that you would need to hide or cover up here. I hope that you have enjoyed making this dishcloth with me. We will have another stitch of the week next week that we will turn into another dishcloth. And by the time that we're done, we'll be able to give them away as Christmas presents or whatever you like to give presents for. I'm also going to include information in the blog as well as the actual written pattern for this for you to be able to find. The paint box yarns, lovecrochet.com is where you will find them if you don't want to look that link up. But I purchased these in a kit of 10 colors, and they're very economically reasonable, and it's a great little yarn. It's soft, it's nice to work with, and it comes in just a ton of colors. So thanks so much for joining me this week working the spike cluster. I hope that you have a great week.